Stu, how have the boys returned from the Christmas New Year's break?
Yeah, in great shape. The list's in a healthy position as well. We had some post-season surgeries, and all those guys are tracking really well and about to integrate back into training. So our list is healthy, and the fitness level of the group's it's exceeded where we wanted them to be at. So it's great news.
Yes, Todd Marshall's one of them who had off-season surgery. How's he going at the moment?
Yeah, he had significant hip surgery post-season, and he's really now turned the corner, and he's about to integrate into training in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So progressing really well and on plan.
So will he be available when trial matches and pre-season matches start?
Yeah, that's the stuff we're keeping open. Certainly, it's looking promising, but there are some tests clearly in how he performs in training. We need to tick all those boxes first, but yeah, he's certainly tracking in the right direction.
What sort of surgery was it? Was it a clear path?
Yeah, it had sort of hip impingement issue, which was resolved, and clearly he was hanging in a little bit late last year to manage it, but now it's fully resolved and he's got free range of movement again, and he's training really well, running well.
How's Ivan's hand? Is that right?
Yeah, he had minor finger surgery, which was an issue that was carried over from last year. It was nothing, we just decided the time was over the Christmas break where he could still run, and he's now back into training, so it was minor, but it hasn't implicated his training in any way.
And how's Mitch tracking?
Mitch is tracking well as well. He's probably the best of the rehab guys at the moment. He's well ahead of timeline. We've got some functional tests, some strength tests to get through with him, but he's now getting more aggressive with his training and about to integrate into drills as well. So really pleased with how he's going.
I think he said he was aiming for round 1. Is that now a realistic possibility for him?
Yeah, realistic. It's again, it's open. There's a few things he's got to tick off, but yeah, he's making all the right moves to do it.
Charlie Dixon sort of finished last year getting to the finishing line.
Yep.
And Aliir spent a lot of time just doing some laps.
Yep.
How are those two?
Charlie's good. Yeah, Charlie's fully recovered from his foot issue of late last year, and he's on a managed training load, which is based on his training history and training age. That's normal for him. Aliir had ear surgery over the pre-season, so he's now back into full training, so we're just being overcautious with that.
Is there anything, just back on the Mitch, is there anything different that he's done, or is it some guys just heal better?
Mitch is just really diligent with his rehab and professional with how he goes about it and attacks it, and make sure he's thorough with every process, and he's been super compliant, and I think that's got him accelerated in his progress.
Just to work out some maths for us, if he comes back round 1, what sort of turnaround is that?
That's a good question. It'd be 10, 11 months, yeah.
Trent was probably the other one in that kind of group on the side today.
Yeah,
I guess he battled a lot last year.
He battled on at the end, but he's again fully resolved, and now he's we used the pre-Christmas period to rehab him, and he'll get into training pretty quickly from now.
Jason Francis, this time last year, he was recovering from stuff that we couldn't understand with his knees.
Yep.
How's he going now, and how exciting is the future look?
It's super exciting for him. This is his first pre-season that he can fully immerse himself in, and we set some pretty aggressive running targets. That was the thing he really wanted to focus on, his running capacity. We saw glimpses of what his capability was from a physical perspective, so we challenged that, and through the off-season he sought personal trainers to help him. He did the program thoroughly, and he's set himself up now to be one of our elite mid-runners, so it's exciting to see where that goes to.
What was he running on last year, given he had no pre-season, also he had a bit of back issue for him?
Yeah, his calf surgery was really the thing that we were cautious with, and it meant he could only do a lot of straight line running for the initial part of pre-season. So it was the football exposure stuff that he lacked, which now he's getting both of that through this pre-season. So
he went to America with Trav as well. I guess when you see him going with Trav over there, it must be something you're quite excited about as the
absolutely
position.
Yeah. We encourage all the guys to be curious with their training and seek out different people to get an edge and chase marginal gains with their improvements, and that's Trav took him under his wing and showed him a few things and took a lot from that experience.
How's Trav returned? I mean, in his how many years?
Again, he's fronted up in great shape, and he wants it, and he's prepared himself to set himself up.
Josh Sims, a guy that's had a fair bit of injury issues over the last couple of years. How's he going so far?
Going well. He's still on a managed load, which we'd like to get off at some point. But just given the history of how he came into the program, he didn't have a lot of training history, so we've got to be respectful of that, and we're training him up, and he's getting more exposure now as the pre-seasons go on.
Are you hopeful this is the kind of year where he's able to maybe turn the corner and have more of a consistent run at AFL level?
Certainly, that's what we hope is a breakout year for him.
The reality looks like he come back in super good news.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. He does the off seasons well. He reaches out to a few of his training partners in Cyril Rioli, and they help him through. And he does the program really well and is compliant to it. And again, he's fronted up like he did last year in good shape.
How do you attack the pre-season? Is there a shift in the way that the training and the program will be delivered this year as opposed to last year, and look for those little 1%ers to improve on?
Yeah, we clearly camps are a big part of our early pre-Christmas foundation building with physical load and education, and as well as standard setting and cultural setup. So based off that, we feel like we get our volume and base done pretty early, so then we can, from January get more into match play drills and attack it that way, and we'll have a bigger focus there and more of a competitive focus in how we train and the intensity we train at.
What kind of distances were you doing on camp? Players kind of thing?
It was more the challenge for them was the consecutive days backing up the load. So we're sort of day on, day off, but this time we went with 4 or 5 consecutive days of on legs, and we stressed them that way, and they fortunately all came back from the camp and after Christmas have recovered and they're in good shape and they've got a good base under their belt.
I know it's looking very far ahead, I guess, into this year, but I mean, do you look at how, I guess, you finished last year, the way that probably seemed like more limping towards the line for some guys, and you kind of adjust your program this year, so you are, probably very fresh when it does come to September? Yeah,
reviewing it all, it's more, the luck side of things, and the injuries to key positional players hurt the structure more than it being training-related errors. So we feel like we've got a foundation with good training history, particularly from the soft tissue side of things. So we don't need to make radical change in that space.
I'm just on back to Willie. I mean, he looked, I guess, a leaner Willie Rioli. Yeah. What do you think that can do for Port Adelaide this year? Oh,
it's really exciting, and it's evident in his attitude. That's the great thing, and that the group get excited by him because he does some pretty special things on field.
Is there someone that's come back from the break and that's sort of really impressed day one on you? Obviously, they're all
there's a couple. In particular, Lockie Jones. He's a great athlete, and he can take himself to another level again, and he's done that. So we've really been impressed with him. Jace Burgoyne and Kane Farrell are 2 others that have really had some clear off-season focuses that they've wanted to work on, and they've come back in great shape.
Ollie, I guess this time last year, Ollie was just getting back into pre-season training. I mean, how big is it for him to have a full pre-season? He hasn't probably had one in a couple of years. That's
right. Yeah, he's been disrupted with pre-seasons, and they're vital for him. He loves doing the work and the volume and the match play leading into round 1 through training, so he'll be set up for that.
The knees, that's all
perfectly resolved. Yeah, he's undertaken all the training sessions and he's going well.
Pre-season camp was a few weeks ago now.
Yep.
Obviously, you mentioned the intensity. Is there anyone who really stands up during that period that you can?
Yeah, well, for us it was sort of having a look at the new guys, really, both the recruits and the new draftees, to see, because it was a pretty brutal training load to start with a new club, and they all handled it well. Ivan, for his period of time that he was with the group, and then Sava, he really attacked it and got through all sessions. Of the younger guys, Will Lorenz sort of stood out to me. He got through everything with no fuss and maintained a good intensity throughout.